How's vrienden FL guys zo. As jy bos 'n Austrian of FN eienaar is, dan weet jy hoe belangrik dit is goeie magasyne te hê. En vandag praat ons oor watter magasyne loop die beste in die FN. Hey guys, FL guy here. We all know magazines are so important for the FL. Without magazines, this platform is just not as sexy as other platforms out there. We know the AR-15 has an abundance of magazines. So does any other weapon platform but the FAL. Like, we are hurting for magazines. And I always get the question, where can I find good mags and what are good magazines? So let's look at my top 3 or 4 magazines. Obviously, in my opinion, the best magazines are Austrian magazines. Why Austrian? They have a good durable finish on them, the grayish coating. It is very good finish. They feel good in the hand, plus they feed in most rifles. I've seen them work obviously in the Austrian Sturmgewehr 58s. I've seen them work well in Imbel receivers, in FN receivers, in DSArms receivers. I got a multitude of FALs, and the Austrian one work in every type of firearm. That is so cool, and especially that they just don't give any issues. I had one Austrian give me issues, but I think the spring wore out. But that was about it. I literally took out the spring, stretched it, and it worked well. The other cool thing about the Austrian magazines are the witness holes. So in case you find FAL magazines that have witness holes in the back, they are Austrian most likely. That just is an extra plus, so you can see how many rounds you have in that magazine. So Austrian magazines, number 1. Number 2 are obviously South African magazines. The South African magazines, they work too. I have a lot of South African magazines. The reason being is I buy a lot of them in South Africa and bring them into the US. Every once in a while, I sell them here in the US too. And they just work fine. They are really good magazines. They run well. I have not had issues with South African magazines. The South African magazines, you can clearly distinguish them with the RC, Relay Cycle Works, markings on the front of the magazine, or they're going to have the U and M for the Union military markings, or they're going to have the date stamp on it. That is basically the year or the month and the year stamped in the front of the magazine. So these, the South African ones, are number 2. Also, the history of South African military history, at least, is pretty cool, and it's part of my heritage, so there's a reason why they're number 2. For the number 3, I have to say they're probably the original FN magazines. They just run well. I've never personally had an original FN one, but I have been at shooting events and with friends and shot theirs, and they are just like the OG. Like, they are around. They're not very common. They're not easy to get, and I don't see them that often on the surplus market or on Gunbroker. And if I see them, they're at a very high price point. Again, they too are steel magazines. I've never played with the aluminum one. I think they did some aluminum for the paratroop version of the FAL. I did not hear many good things about the aluminum ones. The original FN magazines, as far as I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, have a kind of like blackish finish on the outside and bluish followers. Some of them have letters on them, others not. And I really rate them, as I said, level, or like they're like third. They're third together with the German G1 magazines. To distinguish a G1 magazine is super easy. You just look at the floor plate. If there's a long number on it, you know they're German. And they too are really good magazines. I have a buddy of mine that has a shooting outlet, and he rents out the German ones at his store, and they just run. That is unbelievable. And I have to say that the German ones are made in Belgium, as far as I understand it. So they're basically the same. So number 4, and as an honorable mention, number 4, and I kind of have to talk about them, there's Rhodesian ones. The Rhodesian ones that I'm talking about are the ones that can convert it from the inch pattern to fit the metric FALs. And you can tell, number 1, they have an inch floor plate, so they have a different floor plate. They have they look slightly different due to that. Plus, on the side, they have an ST and a serial number engraved or stamped into it. The Rhodesians, they developed their own die to convert the slew of SLR magazines they had prior to declaring independence, to convert them into the metric body. So sometimes you can see the marks where they ground off, I think the front locking lug, to fit the metric receivers. I think a year ago, I was able to obtain like roughly 60, 70 of them. And I sold most of them. I retained a bunch of them for my own use. And out of the 3 that I retained, 2 of them, absolute stellar performance. They just run, no issues whatsoever. But there's one that gives me issues. And I swapped spring in it. I swapped followers. I did what I could, and I just cannot get it to run. So I don't know if the magazine itself, the die was done the incorrect way, or if there's any other issue. The ones that I sold, I have a lot of people get back to me and they'll be like, hey, these magazines just run phenomenally well. They have no issues whatsoever. Plus they have a little bit of history, which again, as I said before, I do focus a lot on the African aspect of the FAL, and that is a really neat piece of history. Anyhow, so for those of you who are wondering about the Rhodesian magazine, here it is. This is one that has an ST serial number on it, and I have to admit, it goes in stiff. Probably the conversion die they used, or maybe the receiver, but it locks into place. It is stiff though. So let's run a couple rounds so you can see for yourself. I'm gonna do some slow fire, and yeah, enjoy a piece of history that does not exist anymore. That was a magazine. Nothing special, but it ran. So these are the 4 mags that I recommend, and my 4 favorite mags. I've never played with an Israeli one. I have to admit, never did that. I played with Korean one, they were not great. I played with some Imbel one, the magazine that I've duct taped together in this picture. They're Imbel ones. They don't run that well. The spring on both of them is not the greatest, so I have issues with these mags. I ran Argentinian FMP ones. I had issues with them too. I don't know, maybe it's a sample that I got. I think I have 3 Imbel, 3 Argentinian ones. So yeah, there's that. And this is just contained to the 20 rounders, 30 rounders, entire different ballgame. Honorable mention, is there an honorable mention to it? Apart from the Rhodesian magazine, I don't know. I do have to say, I run the DSArms Polymer ones. They're cool range mags. That's about it. I did a review a couple years ago on them, on the updated version of it. So watch that if you want a more informed opinion. And the new DSArms mag, I can't really attest to it whether they're the greatest mags on earth. I do hope to get more trigger time behind them, and then I will give a new impression on it. But the couple of rounds I shot with these DSArms mags, they're good. But what does a small round count tell me than a high round count? We'll see what future we sell, or what the future will have in stock for us. Anyhow, thanks a lot for watching this video. If you're gonna wanna know where you can find FAL magazines, well, good luck. Either you DSArms magazines when they come back in stock. You can always Polymer magazines. I know they're not sexy, and I know not a lot of people, but some people have issues with them because the receivers they use them with are not the greatest. Or you have to go on Gunbroker or Fal Files to find surplus magazines. That's like your best bet so far out there. You can also hit up my web store every once in a while. I do carry South African or Rhodesian mags just because I periodically acquire them in South Africa, batch them up, and import them legally into the US. But that's basically it. I know there are new magazines on the market. I can't remember who makes them. I've seen on Reddit a bunch of posts on the new magazines. I'm very eager to try them out. I do believe they're Korean ones, if memory serves me right. Not 100% sure on that. And maybe they are the hot shit. Maybe they're fantastic. I don't know. Haven't played with them. Can't tell you anything about that. So yeah, that's basically a short video on FAL mags. I know there's not a super fantastic video, but something you might want to watch and keep in mind when you want to buy FAL magazines. And maybe there's somebody who has thousands and thousands of steel surplus mags, Austrian, Israeli, FN ones, or German ones that are going to get dumped on the market. Maybe we all keep praying to that. Anyhow, thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you have a great day. Cheers.